Heck yeah. How you doing, Patrick?
I'm doing great, Andy. It's great to be here. How you doing?
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'd like to welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Drag the Lake. I am here with my hetero life mate, Patrick George. Patrick,
Yeah.
what's new, buddy?
Well, Andy, we're just here talking music. We're talking about our anger issues and all these other things. We did a whole damn podcast before this, as usual.
Oh
And
yeah, we did a whole pre-pod, aka friendship. But
but
we're too autistic to know the difference.
but yeah, it's that stuff that's it's like content, but like you don't post it. Like with that.
Yeah, that's I definitely got
I feel
yeah.
better. You
I
feel
don't know.
better?
What?
You feel better?
I feel a lot better. I feel a
Good.
lot better. No, but I think definitely podcasting, growing up listening to podcasts is a great way to disassociate from reality
Yeah.
and to really not know what up and down is in the context of the experience known as life. But thank God we have music out there to match our emotions. I just posted a review of this. Actually, you can go back. We're posting this episode, by the way. If you're watching on the panties page, thank you so much. Go listen to all the other stuff over there. I think Nate and Lemaire just finished up the Last of Us reviews, which I saw the numbers. People were loving that. So thank you for watching that. We got some games in the mouth, all that other stuff. But yeah, this except for last week, this podcast normally drops on a Wednesday. I think it is now, just the way things are shaken out. This podcast drops on a Wednesday. But if you mosey on over to the Drag the Lake page where I'm posting album reviews and stuff like that, yeah, you can get this podcast on a Friday. So that's what it is. But by the time this album dropped, I actually just posted a review for the new Chelsea Grin album. Do you ever listen to them, Pat?
I actually know that they never really caught me that much. It's them and Meshuggah were both bands that like I like every time I hear them I feel like I like it, but I never really like bought or like consumed a lot of their albums. You know what I mean? Like
Chelsea Grin, I've been getting into a lot more because when I was in, they're an interesting band because like when I was in college, I think that's when I first heard about them, and they were a super gimmicky band. And I
mm,
was like, I was way more of a pretentious cunt than I already am.
yeah.
And there we go on not suitable for all advertisers. My fault, boys. Maybe next episode. I don't know. We should just go to fucking Rumble anyway. That's where the real motherfuckers are.
That's right.
Actually, I do think there is part of me that would think I'm like, we should honestly go to Rumble because it's literally all just like Rumble and those websites. It's all news being like Bill Gates is a demon from hell. He's a lizard demon, which I gotta be honest, some strong arguments,
Yeah.
but there's not a lot of people on there just being like, hey, so these tunes are pretty tuning it up really good and whatever.
Yeah.
So I honestly not being like
Like the
third in
status
line
quo.
to the if we're on Rumble not being third in line to the new QAnon shaman, I honestly think there's like a lot of room for us to grow. But either way, I got sidetracked. No, with Chelsea Grin when they first started, they were heavy on like they would put in samples from albums or from movies and stuff like that. They would put samples from movies, and I would get really pretentious about stuff like that, which was ironic considering how unironically I listened to that first Sum 41 album, which, you know what, that was a little self-deprecating. I will backtrack and say musically that album rips, but let's not get sidetracked. I would get very pretentious on music like that, and I kind of like wrote them off. I kind of like wrote them off very quickly, and they did have like a much different style, but they've shifted heavily into just a good meat and potatoes deathcore band. And I got to be honest, they're helping me enjoy the like, the type of screaming where you sound like a monster.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm enjoying that a little bit more than I used to. Do you like the monster vocals?
So the monster is you're talking about the are you talking about the like the almost pterodactyl type one or the growly one?
Almost like on the you ever listen to Lorna Shore?
Actually, that's what I was just looking up. There's something about here. What happened to the Chelsea Grin singer? And I guess that they were replaced by the vocalist Tom Barber from Lorna Shore.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, yeah. So the fact that you're bringing up Lorna Shore is apt, my friend. But please continue. I'm not familiar with them. No.
No, Lorna Shores, they're pretty good. When I first heard about them, I think I definitely like leaned into um well they're actually so you know what? This transitions into a much broader conversation I actually kind of wanted to have because there's this like do you know who Finn McGintley is?
Yes, I do. I've
Yeah, I
actually
really
spoken to him
enjoy
recently.
his YouTube channel. I've made jokes before. He is the king. He is the king of a clickbaity title. But
Oh
when you
yeah.
actually get the funny part is he doesn't need to be. He'll have like an insane thumbnail where he'll be like, and then like
All
my
those things around him.
yeah, my favorite example was when Paramore started releasing music for their new album. They put out this song called This Is Why, and then he had a thumbnail where he was like, "Oh my god." And the tagline on the thumbnail said Misery Business Part 2, and then I listened to the song. It don't sound nothing like Misery Business, you clickbaity son of a bitch. But but my whole point with Finn McGintley, motherfucker don't need to do that because his content is top tier. He's got top tier content. And he was I got sidetracked. Why was I talking about him? What were you talking about
Shore.
right before this?
You're talking about Lorna Shore, Monster Voice. The fact that Lorna
Oh,
Shore.
oh, I know what I was talking about. I was talking about a broader conversation. And Lorna Shore reminds me of this broader conversation. And Finn McGintley's been bringing it up a lot on his channel, where it's just like there's and this is nothing new. This is nothing new. But you've been hearing people talk about it more with like metalcore and deathcore and heavy music like this getting a lot more traction in today's day and age, where you get a lot of these people who are like, I don't want hardcore music to be popular or I don't want it to be more profitable because that'll ruin the art. And it's like, you know what also ruins the art? When you can't pay for your dentist
Yeah.
and you can't pay for your medical bills
Yeah.
because your art is so niche because every fucking jerk off who tries to act, every fucking it's like all it's the same as those like fucking fake punk rock motherfuckers. They try to act like they try to act like they hate big business and they hate corporations, but when they go to the fucking show, what are they blacking out on? Goddamn Bud Lights, and they're on there and they're recording the show on their fucking iPhone, and you guys probably ate Taco Bell before you got there, but oh no, I'm wearing all these black clothes and I got my hands tatted up, which I got no problem with that. I eventually want to tap my hands up. But
Yeah.
you're like, you put on the uniform of like, I'm like, I'm like a fucking hippy dippy, whatever the fuck, and I believe in, keeping things local and blah blah blah
Yeah.
and all this other shit. But it's like, but you're not. You know what I mean? Like you're just doing this because it feels nice. But like really sit down and think about it. And it's like, what the fuck's so bad? So to bring it back to Lorna Shore, this is my long roundabout point. To bring it back to Lorna Shore. So first, the lead singer, Will, what the fuck is his name? Lorne Lorna Shore lead singer. Will Ramos. I gotta give Will Ramos credit because he has one of the most unique, amazing, heavy, like screaming voices. Like to the point where there's a lot. I'm trying to think of example. Who's like a dude who fucking annihilates it on the recording, and then when you hear it live, you're like, oh yeah, that was a lot of production on the computer. I'm
Mhm.
trying to think of a good example. Actually, bringing it back to Sum 41, that one was like actually crazy because he would sound like a literal different human being on
Yeah.
his live
Because they
performances.
always sound like out of breath. They're always like, like they can't move like they're moving in the. So that was always my thought about like, when I realized lip syncing was such a big thing, especially like at like the Super Bowl and shit like that. I'm like, there's no way they're dancing and stomping like that, and you can't hear it in their voice, and like that,
Well,
like it was
do you know
just
what
like
they do at the Super Bowl?
they just lip sync it.
Yeah, it's pre-record for the people who don't know. It's all That's why every Super Bowl, there's always some article to be like, so and so was actually not performing. And you go, all right, ask me this. How are
Yeah.
you going to mic up a whole band for a 30-minute performance at halftime in 10 minutes?
You know who I will say, the singer of Atreyu is the exact example of what you're talking about. Is one of those things where I went to see them. Like on the recording, I wasn't a huge Atreyu fan or anything like that. but like I went to a show where there's like the two opening bands I was like super fucking excited to see. And
Yeah.
like, I'll check out, like I'll hang around for a trade. I'm already here. I'm already, I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck.
Not gonna not watch Atreyu.
But then I was like watching it, and it was like he was cheating. He was doing a lot of cupping, and he was doing a lot of like weird like inward singing shit, like a lot of that weird like kind of like where it never, he was never seemed like he was screaming from the diaphragm. Every time he was screaming, it lost a lot, but like in the recording it sounds great.
Yeah.
And so that was like actually probably the perfect example of what, like, it just didn't have the power, and it was like,
Yeah.
and it seemed like he cheated a lot.
So let me bring up this clip of Lorna Shore live, just so people can hear context to like this
Yeah.
dude's vocal ability live. All right, that might not be a good part. Let me bring it over
I
here.
think I know what you're talking about with
All right, so and you, like that's crazy.
Young Danzig back there on the drums.
Yeah, a little bit.
Little,
Wait, let's bring that back up.
that is a dime piece fucking Danzig right there. Look at this hunky chunky boy. Look at him.
That guy is as
Put
tall
that
as
boy in a
Danzig.
fucking tank top now.
That's a tight motherfucker.
Oh.
That's how tall Danzig wished was.
That's prime Danzig. Yeah, exactly. That's what Danzig has in his head when he's on stage. He's like, "Fuck yeah, I look like this guy."
But so yeah, I gotta give the dude Lorna Shore the Will Ramos, because he's like one of the most like talented. The way he can manipulate his voice and literally sound like a monster,
Yeah.
is nothing short of ungodly impressive. So I gotta give him major props. But my original point was, so like my thing with Lorna Shore is like they're not my cup of tea, because kind of musically they're a little they can I've listened to a couple of their songs, and they can be musically like, short of his vocals, they can be uneventful. It's more, they're one of these deathcore bands that is more a practice of endurance rather than exemplifies their creativity. But
yeah,
if we look, here's the thing. If we look up Lorna Shore here, let's real quick, like, so whatever the fuck my opinion is, here's the reality of Lorna Shore. They have right here, a year ago, 14 million views.
Jesus.
Months ago, 3.9 million views. 1 year ago, 3.8. Oh, he's got this crazy cover of Pray for Plagues. Oh, which sidebar? I was catching. I was interviewing Steph like a fucking detective, because she's a big Bring Me the Horizon fan, but she's a girl, so that means she's a fan of their later shit.
Okay.
early Bring Me the Horizon is for boys, later Bring Me the Horizon is for girls.
Okay, yeah.
And then I was like, I remember saying, I was like, yeah, but you like kind of their later shit because you're a girl. And she's like, no, I like all their stuff. And I go, all of it? All you like Pray for Plague? She's like, yeah, no, not that you don't mind it.
Yeah,
I'm saying you like it and like put it on.
Air drum it.
Yeah. And I was really holding her feet to the fire on that, because I was just like,
you're like, you ready? I'm gonna hit play.
You like blast beats?
Yeah.
Say it to my face.
Yeah, tell me honestly. Okay, so that was the thing. I totally understand your suspicion, because Dom and I at one point we were not talking. Like like this was before we were dating, and there's a point where we were like not talking, and we saw each other at a Black Dahlia show, and I was just kind of like, my first thought was like, you don't fucking like this.
Oh, so the new guy you're fucking likes Black Dahlia, huh?
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things of like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, you're just here just to be cool. Like one of those things, but like, she says she's a Black Dahlia Murder fan. Okie dokie. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those things of like, I'm not even the biggest Black Dahlia Murder fan. I just like them. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. It's like, but it's still one of those things of like, What are you doing? You know, kind of like one of those things of like, that's what I thought you were gonna say. Why?
Yeah.
Oh, you like Lorna Shore? Okay, or
Well,
you Bring Me the Horizon? You know?
I was also calling bullshit on her because I was like, you've actively made fun of a lot of the music I listen to. And a
Yeah.
lot of that does not go nearly as hard as Bring Me the Horizon's first album.
Yeah.
So just by logic deduction,
The process of elimination here says
by
you're
logical deduction, you're a
yeah,
dirty, no good liar.
you're fucking lying, bitch.
You're a lying bitch. But anyway,
Look me in the fucking eye.
back to my wife I can't trust. Or
Back to that lying tramp. Go ahead.
but getting off that dirty rotten liar I call a wife that I lay down next to every night. Can't trust her for a day
Can't
in
look
my
her in
life.
the eye, but yeah, you better believe I lay next to her.
So back to talking about Lorna Shore is, and this is where people get really they get blinders on with a lot of this shit. And it's like, it's the older I get, the more, like when I was younger, thinking about a lot of the stuff I like, I was like, oh, I like this stuff because it's the best version of everything. And then the older I got, the world kept over and over again going, we disagree, dude. We disagree. That ain't the best version of it, man. You know what I mean? Like I'd go out and I'd do my podcast. I'd be like, this is the best version of this. And the world was like, disagree. And then I'd go do my comedy. A lot of people would like it, but a lot of other people would be like, disagree. So I was like, but I can't not be this. So here's the thing. And to correlate it to like heavy music is, so say we get bands like Knocked Loose. Knocked Loose is clearly not for everyone. Right. They're not for They have a big following, but they're not for everyone. But here's the thing. Lorna Shore clearly is for everyone. Well, not everyone, but like when it comes to heavy music, they got way better numbers than Knocked Loose. So if you don't like, and this isn't a perfect example because most people who listen to heavy music are gonna big up Lorna Shore, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, like the more popular a band like Lorna Shore gets, that creates runoff. That creates runoff for smaller bands. So that means a band like a band like Knocked Loose, the more popular Lorna Shore gets, the more popular Knocked Loose it gets. People, if I can bring it to economics, people get this misconception. Well, no, it's like it correlates with like a economic law, in my opinion, where people look at shit at like people look at like just they look at shit. It's called the fixed pie fallacy. So like if a band like Lorna Shore, say someone thinks they're not as good as a band like Knocked Loose, and they see a band like Lorna Shore get popular, and you're like, oh, they're taking up space for better bands like Knocked Loose. And it's like, that's not true at all. They're making heavy music more acceptable to the masses. So then the masses see that, and it's like they're going to listen to Lorna Shore. And we've all had that experience, dude. There is I was joking about this with someone where it's like you start somewhere and you slowly build to somewhere else. There is a direct pipeline. There's a direct fucking Smash Mouth to Knocked Loose pipeline that I have proven exists because Smash Mouth was one of the first bands I ever heard. And now I listen to Knocked Loose nonstop. There's a direct Smash Mouth to Knocked Loose pipeline.
I think there's a correlation. It's essentially the saying, a rising tide raises all ships.
Yes.
Like, if heavy music is popular in general, that just means you're going to get to see better, more creative heavy music, as well as the mainstream or more commercial, I guess. Heavy
100%.
It's weird. It's so weird to say that at this point, especially with a band like Lorna Shore, to say commercial, but like that's kind of a thing. I didn't tell you this yet, but I wanted to get your reaction to it, and I think I may have a new genre to premiere.
Okay.
And it's something that I'm just discovering about myself. So there's a genre that I want to dub.
You're like, I have a penis, and this is news to me.
Son of a bitch, you could have fooled me. 9 times out of 10, I look down, there's nothing there. But no, there's a new genre I want to premiere called Quivercore.
Ooh,
We're
wait, can I guess? Can I
Yes,
guess?
please.
The fuck? Sleep Token?
I don't know Sleep Token, but I'm gonna write that down because it may qualify.
Okay.
But it's essentially it's the really powerhouse vocals, but then like everything else we like too. So I think maybe the best example. So I don't know. Isn't Five Finger Death Punch might be the mainstream version of this?
Oh no. No, you know what genre they are?
What?
Dumb horseshit butt rock.
Okay, yes,
That's what you meant to say.
that's the commercial version of it. I think there is because a
Are
buddy
you
of
talking like Kill Switch Engage?
no, but this
I
even
call that
more
I call Kill Switch Engage triumphant core.
triumphant. Okay,
Because
I
it's
don't
all
know,
like you imagine it's similar to like Protest the Hero. They're prog triumphant core. Um
okay, so a lower end version of this would be CKY,
okay.
where it's like, but not screamy deemy. I need a
Yeah.
screamy deemy with the singy wingy, but the perfect. So I never was a fan. I'm gonna lay it all out on the line right here. I was never really a fan of screamo, right?
Yeah.
As a genre, I liked the unique kind of bands in that genre. A Devil Wears Prada, if you will, a Thrice on a more commercial end of like you've got substance to your screamo. The
Well, I
scream, the scream was good, but the emo part, I need to be pure. I can't just be whiny. I don't like the whiny vocals. I like the more substance in it, and that's what I feel like a new band I want to talk about.
hit me.
The Kodiak is the exact version of this. And I say new band, Andy. I may be on the cusp of breaking this band to everyone in the world. I don't think they have a full length release out.
Really?
There's like 5 singles that I've been listening on a loop, and the best way I can dub this band is officially quivercore, because it gives you all the heavy shit you want and it gives you all the singy dingy that you like, and there feels like there's actual power behind it. It's like a fucking powerhouse vocal with like legitimate growls, screams, like actual
Yeah.
metal and hardcore happening, as well as so it's I would even go crazy enough to say newer Slipknot falls into this category. Like what
Really?
Stone Sour, stuff like that, where it's like I don't know how heavy Stone Sour gets. I never listened to Stone Sour. I just am familiar that it's the same singer of Slipknot that's in that band, but it's digestible. And this band, the Kodiak, it sounds like a really polished version of CKY, like a really good, like a better. You know how we were talking about Zeta in the past show, like past couple shows,
Yeah.
like where they're like almost a more polished or better version of like Mars Volta, a more digestible
Yeah.
version of something like that. The best parts of it, that's what I feel like. Kind of like how, what's the band? Fuck, Electric like ELO, Electric like Orchestra is
Yeah.
all the best parts of Queen. That's the best description I've given of that band. Is all my favorite parts of Queen is what ELO is. This is all my favorite parts of like CKY, Heart, like, but like better. I don't know how to explain it. And like I said, there's only 5 songs on Spotify. I don't know if they're maybe on a different
For
service or
Kodiak?
something like that. Yeah, the Kodiak is the band.
How'd you come across them?
It was from my Discover Weekly. And I will say this: their number one song on Spotify, as well as the song that was suggested to me, I don't even think is their best song. And that one was called Hide Howitzer or Howitzer, sorry. But there's other songs like True North, I think is a little bit better. But my
Yeah.
favorite song by them is is a song that I was calling Pink Piss, but is actually called Pink Miss. Sorry.
No, it's interesting. They have like I'm looking on their
Like I
YouTube, and yeah, on their Spotify. They have 5 releases and they're all singles. So
they're
they
all
literally have 5 songs, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. And it's like those aren't even on an EP. Like they've only been releasing singles. I dude, they're fuck. I don't know.
No, there's not even an EP. Yeah.
And you know what? Actually, I'll look them up right now because I've been saving this to tell you. I've been listening to them pretty much nonstop for like 2 days now. That's how fresh this is.
That's always really fun to like. It feels like you're in. I'm trying to remember bands I've been with like that. I was kind of like that with Gallows, but that was more after they had one full length release. But I managed to get in on them on like right after that first full length because I heard them on a Warp Tour comp, which all love and respect to Warp Tour comps. Them and the Tony Hawk soundtrack did a lot of heavy lifting for me back in the day. But yeah, that feeling when you get in on a band at like ground level, it's like, it's like when you found Apple when they were still in the garage.
Yeah. No, like legitimately, I feel like I can both, and this has happened a lot lately with us in particular. I feel like this band, I guarantee you're gonna like this band. I don't know if you'll love them as much as I do, but I know that you'll like them.
Okay. Well,
And
I'll try to check them out between now and next week.
from I think they're from British Columbia. They got a nice website, pretty nice website. But the actually, and this is the one I'll tell you. Number one song in my opinion is this song here, Tabernact.
Mm-hmm.
That one in particular, that one should be the single. That one fucking rules. Uh and I would love to like reach out to them. I would like to fucking like because they seem like a band that is within our reach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we could like I don't know if it's a super group, if it's fucking it doesn't seem like it. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like it would, but they're pretty well thought out and the songs sound fucking amazing. So I don't know. But I would love to hear your thoughts as far as quivercore or any kind of because like it's almost like the same idea of like monster voice, like you were talking about. There's probably a real actual term for it, but
Yeah.
they called themselves post-hardcore. I wouldn't say that. I don't know. It's different. It's like there's something.
When
It's
you say quivercore, is that more in the vocals?
in those vocals, yeah.
Yeah.
Music, yeah, the music is pretty much it's beautiful, but it's metal, hardcore. You know,
Yeah.
not post or pre anything. It's pretty cool. Just sounds current.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm like, I gotta be honest, I'm mixed sometimes. No, you know what it is? It's not so much um like with the over the top or not over the top's not the right word, but just having like a really good singer isn't necessarily like a make or break for me.
Yeah,
It's not I'm way more about the musicality of it. And then like if the singer's good, that's just like a bonus. But at the same time, there was a band I found recently. I forget what the fuck they were called, but they were interesting because it was like I found a band like almost like the Cancer Bats. If you
mhm.
ever listen to
Yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah.
sort of hard rock, but also like a hardcore punk band at the same time. They were sort of in that department, but then um their lead singer sang like the dude in the number 12 looks like you, which work or like almost like the Locust,
Yeah.
which that works in the context of like crazy mathcore. But when it's just over like normal punk music, it sounds odd. And I was like, oh, this doesn't work for me.
I
I
feel
like I
it's
like the vocals and the music separate, but when you combine these two
yeah.
types of things, it doesn't work.
It's almost like when you hear like something like I would say Dance Gavin Dance or even like Protest the Hero where the music is so chaotic and the vocals are so like operatic.
Yeah.
They're like beautiful like these you know what I'm saying like they're going on like almost like Mariah Carey runs but while like they're just going you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that works but so I don't fault them for trying but I
Mm-hmm.
totally understand that it's almost like this is kind of that same idea that like they have this uh like it's almost like it's two great tastes that taste great together kind of idea you know what I'm saying does that
Okay.
with the vocal like the music so I would say this like the with like post hardcore pre whatever all the other names and stuff like that are I I don't understand how a band kind of gets that distinction or like comes up with that, because I feel like every band that I've always been in, uh, we've always had like influences for sure, and those are like they kind of come up, but I never really had like a set genre for any band that I was ever really in, and maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
why we never really were successful. But like you say, a band like Cancer Bats, right? And like I'm trying to think of like what the fuck are they? You said like punk band, they're punk, I would say, but I feel like they're like almost like party punk hardcore. You know
Yeah, they're
what I'm
well,
saying?
they actually correlate. They're a similar vibe to like you ever listen to Attila?
No.
Yeah, that early Attila. I didn't listen to them a lot because they kind of did. I always respected them because their lead singer did a feature on this band Backwards that I
Mhm.
really like. He did a feature on their record when they were like no one, and I always thought that was cool. So there was a part of me that like respected Attila. But like I never got huge into their music, but their early shit was this like fast pace like hardcore with like a party vibe to it.
Yeah.
And Cancer Bats is like a punk, almost like a punk version of that with a little less cringy. Attila definitely
Yeah.
would lean cringy at times,
Or to
but
the parties and the punk.
Cancer Bats was like substantially less cringy in almost every. They weren't cringy, so they were so not cringy. They weren't cringy. That's
Right.
the point I'm trying to make. Because I know there's a lot of people being like, "Damn, did he just compare the Cancer Bats to Attila?" I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be offensive, but no, yeah, Cancer Bats always had this like hardcore punk. It's like they were like fucking Comeback Kid mixed with ACDC.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it had this like weird, yeah, it had like a very, it was chaotic, but it was very melodic at the same. Like they were, I'm surprised that Cancer Bats are, in my opinion, big, but I'm just a fan of theirs. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like they could have gotten bigger, or maybe again, maybe I don't know that much about their actual like careers or anything like that. But I feel like
Yeah.
anytime I've seen them, I've like always been really accessible. Have you ever seen them? Seen them like
Not
live?
live. I always knew about them, but it was their last album. They put out this song, Psychedelic. What is it? I'm on their YouTube channel, Psychic Jailbreak. But then they had this song called Lonely Bong, which is like it's like the perfect sort of representation of that style because it was like it was like a hard-hitting punk song, but it had this like upbeat nudge and a wink to it that was just so fucking catchy.
Yeah, I think cancer bats have, but again, like I wouldn't just say that. Oh, they're just a punk band or they're just a hardcore band or whatever. Like that's a unique. There needs to be, if we're gonna do post hard, I still don't know what the fuck post hardcore is.
Yeah,
Different
post
than
hardcore is
hardcore.
one of the most vague genres.
It's like one of those things that like it feels like as a same thing as like alternative. Technically, nothing is really alternative, but like truly alternative things would never call themselves alternative. So it's
Yeah,
like,
everything I honestly there's an argument it's like everything below Ariana Grande could be fucking alternative with the way things are going now with
yeah,
music.
what's not like what's not in every commercial that you see. You know what I'm saying? Like not to sound like some kind of fucking dipshit or anything, but like all truly alternative things I don't think exist anymore. And
Well, I
they're
think with
definitely not what you
certain
hold as alternative.
genres like that, it's actually this is an interesting conversation to bring up. Because I think with alternative and post-hardcore, they're two genres that the name like the name honestly doesn't even mean anything. It's more about like if you hear someone say alternative, it really just means it's not quite indie rock yet.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Or
if
like
you hear
garage
someone
rock and punk. Like what's garage rock and punk? Garage
yeah,
rock is commercial punk.
garage rock is punk that doesn't focus. Yeah, it's like a little more upbeat.
It's like punk without any without real, and I hate to say this, but it's really without any substance. It's and not in the same sense as like party punk or whatever the fuck we're talking about with like cancer bats. Like if you're garage rock, it's like we know who you are. We've heard of
Yeah.
the band. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is ironic because you're called garage rock, and that's actually the punk bands that are playing. That's where that term came from, but you don't know any of the punk bands that would like inspired that
If
name.
I hear someone say garage rock, I basically think, oh, it's a punk band that would sound that would their song would make sense in a Target commercial.
Yeah, you got that with
That's what garage rock means to me.
you got a QR code when you upgraded your fucking Costco membership. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
and
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, post-hardcore. Post-hardcore is a hard one to really categorize.
Mathcore is one of those ones that I feel like it fits a lot of times, but also bands can kind of like be other. It sucks because it's like everything is a fucking spectrum now. Everything is a spectrum because that's
And
all.
most people are on it.
Yeah, yeah, legitimately. It's like one of those things of like who gets to who. This is the real topic. I feel like who gets to decide the genre of the band, because that's really what it comes down to. If the band is choosing the genre, that's just your intent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just make you can make a rap song, I guess, but
Mm-hmm.
like what is the it's like what's the actual intent? Are you a rapper? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that does that make sense? I guess that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No, it makes sense.
Like
It's
that
it's I don't know. It's weird because like
because like how can you make a post hardcore song? What does that even mean? What is the definition? Oh, I guess I could look it up.
that actually.
Definition.
Let's see. Yeah, no, that's good. Let's see what the internet. I'll look it up.
Okay.
Post-hardcore definition. Let's see what the internet says of post-hardcore.
Because like how can you go into a studio and go, okay, let's write something like we wrote it 18 years ago.
Post-hardcore is a punk rock music genre that maintains the aggression and intensity of hardcore punk, but emphasizes a greater degree of creative expression. Yeah, no, that would make sense. Like you could take a. I'm trying to think. You could take a
No, it's
punk
punk.
band.
So
What?
post hardcore is actually punk.
No,
Yeah, you just said it.
no.
It's upgraded punk. It's
Well,
punk.
that's not punk then.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like, so punk post hardcore has nothing to do with hardcore necessarily in general, except for hardcore punk. But punk is not even mentioned. What the fuck? And I would not call this band post hardcore.
No, that's a really good question. What would you consider post-hardcore? I think like
That's
I always thought I like people always tried to call Thursday post-hardcore or people always tried to call Thursday emo, which there's a strong argument, but I always thought Thursday was a good representation of what post-hardcore was, where it almost sounds like post-hardcore to me is a band where it sounds like you took hardcore, punk, emo, alternative, and like kind of threw it all in a pot together.
Yeah, like what
You
if
know what I
everybody
mean?
was inspired by something else?
Yeah, yeah. It
That's not,
always it always seems like a fucking like a Swiss Army knife of like
which
subgenres like that.
so that's the other thing is okay, so and that's truly how genres are born. So like thrash metal, right? Something that was a lot of people attribute to. I'm not here to start any fucking wars, but I am a subscriber to this. Something that's attributed to Slayer. Slayer is somebody who popularized and kind of helped is one of the forefathers, if not the inventor of thrash metal, which I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people know. I was going to say no, nobody knows. Nobody saw the same documentary as me, but there are Andy. There's literally people carving Slayer into their arm and setting it on fire. So like, there's
That's
definitely
crazy. They don't know.
yeah. But
You think they would know, and they don't know.
Slayer was thrash is genuinely, and this is literally what it is. Jeff Hanneman, who was one of the guitar players in Slayer, and the other members of Slayer had two different like I like Dead Kennedys is what he said. And then these guys said, we like Black Sabbath, yada, yada, yada. And they're like, well, what happens if we go, and then you go, boom, there you go. Fast metal.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then, and that was my favorite thing about Slayer is the fact that it actually came from real. I had always heard that there was a rivalry between metalheads and punk kids and all this other shit. And I'm sitting here watching Slayer, who is like, that's basically punk. What the fuck's going on? Why would you hate each other? This rules. So it's kind of like one of those things that once you find out that there's influences like post-hardcore, that the fact that it doesn't even acknowledge punk rock, but it's actually in the definition, kind of makes me feel like I don't know if I
What
would
do you mean? Wait. What do you mean it doesn't acknowledge punk rock?
like in the you say post-hardcore, and then like a band like I said, like the Kodiak, which I would never ever in a million years, if I'm thinking punk bands, I would they would never make the list. I'd never ever put them on a list of punk bands, but they consider themselves a post-hardcore band, which is
Doesn't mean they sound punk. It
right.
just
No,
means it
but I
just
wouldn't
means
even
they
say that.
took it just means they took elements of punk.
But even still, I don't. I'm saying from somebody who has listened to the only 5 songs that they have put out over and over and over again. At not one point do I go like, boy, this is reminding me of punk, or giving me the feeling of punk, or anything. It's always
Sure, but like no, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, do you listen to Kodiak and go, they probably listen to punk bands sometimes?
no. I legitimately it's
What do you mean?
I'm saying that this band doesn't. I would never think immediately, oh, this is maybe Poison the Well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe I think of like maybe you listen to a little bit of Poison the Well or something like that, but I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't think, oh, these
I know
guys.
what you're saying, but I disagree. I think
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what the Kodiak sounds like, but like to go back to a band like Thursday, like I'd listen to Thursday and be like, oh yeah, they probably listened to the Clash or the fucking Buzzcocks or so. Well, they literally covered the Buzzcocks on the Tony Hawk soundtrack. But
maybe that's a better example. The Kodiak doesn't remind me even a little bit of the Used. So like one of these bands is not. You know.
why are you bringing up the Used?
What did you just say?
I'm saying Thursday.
Thursday. Sorry, Thursday. I apologize. That was a literal slip. I said the Used thinking Thursday. I apologize.
Oh, okay. I was so lost. I was like,
No, that was my bad. Every time you say Thursday, for some reason, I that has happened the entirety of my lifetime since those two bands have been in the popular culture. I've always got those two mixed up. I know that they're not alike. That's my bad. But
you should check if you got a concussion.
I have many concussions, Andy. I lost count. I do not know. You remember when they said you got your bell rung or something like that, or oh, you just walk it off, like stuff like that. Yeah, that's yeah. Here I am. So in Florida, they don't look out for stuff like that. Thursday and the Kodiak don't remind me of each other at all, and I would never even say like that there. So I'm saying like as far as
So,
like,
and
in the genre,
if I could interject there, and I think that's the flaw of the post-hardcore genre title is Kodiak and Thursday can both be considered post-hardcore, but they don't have to necessarily sound like each other.
it's
That's the
unreliable.
flaw of the post-hardcore title. It's obnoxiously broad.
So if I may, if we could just have much like a recipe, have a genre, have elements that you get this, you get this, you get this, and you get this. Because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, if I want a BLT and I say I would love a BLT, and they bring me out a BLT that has a big scoop of tuna fish on it, I'm gonna go, and they go like, that's our BLT. No, a BLT is a thing. You have to put down what your BLT is,
It's
because
honestly, I got to give you credit. That's perfect symbolism for what's wrong with the post-hardcore title.
yeah, if it's a big scoop of tuna on my fucking post-hardcore when I just wanted a fucking BLT.
And dude, the way you said it, where you're like, no, this is our version of a
Yeah,
BLT, and you're like, no, it's not.
no, this is how we see post-hardcore. No, it's got to be a thing. If you're going to put a label on it, the label has to mean something.
This is why I always said I heard someone make fun of this, and I've never disagreed with someone more. I've heard people poo
Yeah.
poo this notion, but it's very accurate. So like you're saying, if you go, my band's post hardcore, people are gonna go, well, that could mean anything.
Yeah, it literally
But
means nothing to me. Yeah.
but like when I was talking about the cancer bats, if I go, oh, the cancer bats are like, they're kind of like, what did I say earlier? They're like, I forget what I said earlier, but like, let's just say it's like, oh, the Cancer Backs, they're kind of like Black Flag meets AC/DC. I know exactly what that sounds like.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know exactly what that sounds like. And
Yeah,
I've
you're like,
heard
oh
people
shit.
shit on that. And I go, no, my version of it gets you way quicker to the information you need than your long slew of fucking adjectives you feel like fucking spewing out.
Dude, the last best, I feel like the last best example of this is something like Screamo. Screamo is very, very distinct. And there is a spectrum for sure, and it does range, but you're gonna get the elements that you want. You're gonna get the recipe. You're
Yeah.
gonna get there's gonna be screamies, there's gonna be metally parts, but there's gonna be different. There's like Chiodos or Kyotos, however you pronounce it. I don't know. I know it's like one of those things I don't think I've seen them live, but like they did this. Hey, we're from the Montreal or whatever the fuck they're from, and it's just like, what did he say? Is it Chiodos or Kyotos? Which one?
I mean, I've from my experience, CH makes a ch, so I've just gone with Chiodos.
Chiodos, right? So okay, well from here on out, Drag the Lake officially announces you are Chiodos.
Has
So
there ever been a debate?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's been so many times, dude. This is how
I've never heard anyone debate that. That's just you, dude.
this is how weird it was going to the school that I went to, and then even hanging out with my brother's friends and stuff like that. I had such a weird lane of music that I would just be like, yeah, you know this band, right? Like somebody used to make fun of a band that I liked, uh, uh, both As I Lay Dying and Every Time I Die. Both of those bands. He used to go, "Oh, do you listen to Every Time I Cry?" And I go, "Dude, you have no idea how wrong you are with that insult. That's not an that's not a good way to make fun of these guys. If you're just like, yeah, bro, you're gonna listen to Every Time I Die and fucking party and rip it up, like that would be more a way to make fun of me. But if you're calling them pussies, they're definitely not pussies. They're not crying ever. They never cry. So like it never makes sense. Like it nobody has ever understood. So if I talk to somebody, I say, is it Kyotos or Chiodos? They go, who are you talking about?
This is why bullying is bad.
Right.
Because Pat has
Every time, what do you listen to? As I Like Crying? You mean that fucking metal band where the guy was trying to hire somebody to kill his wife? Legitimately, don't cry. They're never singing about crying.
yeah, Pat, you tell him.
It was just like
You fucking tell him,
it's
Pat.
like a shitty insult. It's like saying like, oh yeah, strung out. Those guys that play acoustic guitars all the time. They don't play acoustic guitar.
I agree. I
It's
feel
always
you, dude.
electric. Sorry.
I feel you,
I'm
dude.
still fucking arguing with that fucking cunt barista from earlier. Sorry, monetization. Sorry.
Oh man, that's funny. That is funny.
What were we talking about?
I don't know.
Genre. You gotta have the recipe, baby.
You gotta have the
You
recipe.
gotta have it. You gotta have chocolate milkshakes, milk, chocolate, shake. You know what I'm saying? Let's get
Yeah.
it.
Oh man, you got him, dude. You got him. All right, we got a couple minutes left. I wanted to read this article real quick because I thought it was interesting. Do you know Spirit Box and Falling in Reverse?
Oh man, when you said Spirit Box just now, I'm like, are we gonna talk about ghosts? But it's a band named Spirit Box. That's pretty cool. I guess I'll check.
Yeah, you remember I told you about I wrestled a bear once.
Yeah.
They the second lead singer they had,
Okay.
Courtney LaPont or whatever the fuck her name is.
The lady?
Yeah, she is a lady. No, her voice is crazy. I actually get bummed out that she makes the music she does in Spirit Box because it's like, oh, in my opinion it's all like okay, and she is like one of the best fucking metal voices ever, and it's just spent on a okay metal band, not even trying to be a fucking dickhead. It's just, I don't know. I just wish she was in, like, if she could be in a band that's a little more adventurous, it would be because her voice is crazy. But so recently, are you familiar with Falling in Reverse?
Falling in Reverse is I'm familiar with the name, but it's another band that's not on my radar necessarily.
That's one of the Ronnie Radke projects, and Ronnie Radke is he's the notorious bad boy of emo.
Oh,
Always
no.
getting himself into trouble,
No.
always rattling off weird opinions and being near guys getting murdered.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear that? That was he went to jail for a minute because he did not. It was a bit of a Ray Lewis situation. He's the Ray Lewis of emo.
Okay.
Where he did not commit the murder, but he was with a group who were near the murder. I think some dudes in his crew. I don't quote me on that, anyone listening, or Ronnie Radke ready to fight me. I believe someone in his crew committed the murder, but apparently Ronnie Radke, here, let me get this up. Apparently Ronnie Radke got Spiritbox pissed off because Spiritbox was on a tour. Yeah, they dropped off the Falling in Reverse tour. Spiritbox have dropped off their summer tour opening for Falling in Reverse. Oh, I didn't realize it was a summer tour, not a festival. On Friday, the Fast Rising Canuck band. God, just write a fucking article.
I'm never not all Canadian bands today. What's going on? We're talking about Cancer Bats. We're talking about fucking Kodiak.
Cancer Bats are Canadian.
Yeah,
nice. Yo, can I say something about Canadians?
Please don't.
No, it's just my. I get annoyed with the whole just the whole notion of like, oh, Canadians are all just real nice guys and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dude, the way they treat their indigenous fucking gives us a run for their money. Dude, so you guys, this whole fucking Canadian, it was that goddamn fucking Michael Moore movie where he's like, oh, in Canada, they don't even lock their doors. And you're like, shut up. What's this based off of? What are you saying? Like, how are you? And like, people just like ran with that. And they're like, Canadians are normally just like super nice, good people. And you're like, it's statistically impossible. Just shut the fuck up.
Do you know why no Canadians lock their doors? Because nobody's scared of Canadians. So like, they have good borders. I'm just saying they have a really good border. They don't even let you in if you have a fucking DUI. But I will say that Canadians are not nice. They are like almost hereditary. It's their indigenous part. Like the fact that the thing that comes naturally to every Canadian is passive aggression. It's never nice. It's almost like they have like they're trying to be British, but they're doing it shitty. Like even their French are shitty. Like even real French people hate French Canadians. And that's because they're not really French, but God damn it, don't say that to them.
Don't let them know you said that.
So like Canadians definitely have their American traits. You know what I'm saying? They're fat too.
They're fat idiots too.
Fucking fat dickheads as well.
Fucking stupid fat Canuck retards.
And even I thought also, just speaking of, I thought Canuck was technically like kind of like a insult. I know that they have a team.
I don't know. It's like, in the fucking header of Revolver.
Yeah.
I mean, Revolver, known bigots. Yeah. We'll just say that and then move past it.
Known Canuck band.
No, I'll just confidently say that everyone who works at Revolver is a bigot. But anyway, let's read this article. Spiritbox drops off Falling in Reverse tour. Spiritbox has dropped off the Falling in Reverse tour on Friday. The Fast Rising Canuck band fronted by Courtney LaPlante deleted all of their posts about the trek, dubbed the popular Monts Tour, on social media and removed the dates from their website. Today, Spiritbox officially announced that they've decided to remove themselves from the bill. And here's why. We have withdrawn from the 6 shows where we were scheduled to perform on the popular Monts Tour. The group wrote in a brief Twitter statement. LaPlante quote tweeted the band's post with a single period, suggesting that this is all her and her bandmates have to say on the matter. So here's context. Last week, Falling in Reverse, the controversial rock group helmed by the polarizing Ronnie Radke, announced the blockbuster U.S. tour package that tapped Ice Nine Kills, Under Oath, Spiritbox, Slaughter to Prevail, Crown the Empire, and Catch It. That's not a bad show.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, that's actually, Slaughter to Prevail?
I do not.
They're this insane, dude. Check them out. They're the one good thing out of Russia. That was mean. It's just your government. I have all respect for the Russian people.
I know.
Unless, unless you guys are jerks. I'll say this blanket statement. I, Andy Malfrina, don't support jerks of any nation.
Wait a
But
minute,
anyway,
hold on. So you're saying
Slaughter.
Slaughter to Prevail is better than Pussy Riot?
No one's better than Pussy Riot.
Nobody's more influential. Go ahead.
But yeah, Slaughter to Prevail's pretty good. Ice Nine Killed, never really listened to them, but I think they're like pretty good. Under Oath, that's a solid band. I think Crown the Empire's kind of like butt rock core. I don't know them for support. In the days afterwards, several bands on the tour, including Spirit Box, I can't read, began catching social media flack for not only signing on to the tour with Radke, who recently lambasted a woman on social media who accused him of allegedly assaulting her, but for touring with Crown the Empire. Ooh, what did they do? Whose guitarist Brandon Hoover is currently facing his own allegations of domestic abuse by an ex-girlfriend. Allegations that Hoover and his bandmates deny, and which Radke has repeatedly chimed in on to discredit as well. So far, neither Radke nor Falling in Reverse have publicly commented on Spiritbox announcements. See Spiritbox and LaPlante. So a lot of people are kind of being like, I thought the reason I'm bringing it up, and I'm curious about your opinion, because a lot of people are kind of like coming at them to be like, is this your first? Like, were you not aware of who Ronnie Radke was?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if I'm double checking, this is actually, what were the allegations?
That when he said abuse.
Who recently lambasted a woman on social media who accused him of allegedly assaulting her. You know what I mean? And it's like, that this ain't the first go around with Ronnie Radke and some accusations like that. So to be perfectly honest, like, he's already had a few times where someone's like, yo, this dude did some fuck shit. And he's like, So now it's like, it seems like it's another, and I could be missing some details, so forgive me if I am, but it seems like it's another situation of of someone being like, Ronnie Radke did this. And Ronnie Radke was like, So it just like, I don't know. I wonder. So I didn't realize it was a 6-day tour. I bet you this is more of a impulsive response to like the current vibe. And they're just like, we want to,
let's get ahead.
We want to keep ourselves stable in the short term. It's not that big of a deal if we drop off 6 shows. And honestly, if we make an enemy with Ronnie Radke, that's not going to hurt us in the long run. Yeah. But it does like beg the question of like, Ronnie Radke's been Ronnie Radke since day fucking one. I don't know. This ain't nothing new from what I can tell. So it seems very like, I don't know. It seems very phony and fake.
Yeah, I guess that's the point. Is in general, if this was a moral decision and not just a decision on these particular, you know what I'm saying? Like this feels like, okay, so if you're going by these particular accusations. Or were they not informed that he would be? But they're headlining the tour though, right?
Oh, dude, they set up this tour forever ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, it's not like it's so maybe. I mean, I don't think it's that like yes, you know who he is, and maybe that was the thing. It was like, okay, look, we're in this situation. This is the thing. It's 6 days. Why don't we go ahead and do this? Like, but if anything comes up, we're off. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe it was literally something like that. Like maybe it was a band discussion or even just like a general, maybe that's a thing. Like it's almost like, who is damn, I was trying to think of like a notorious, like Guns N' Roses back in the day. Like,
yeah.
If it would be like buying a Guns N' Roses ticket. Like you're gonna, like most likely, like if you get a show, it's gonna be awesome. Or you're not going to get a show. You know what I mean? Like you're going to just go there. I just talked about this with somebody where I was talking, you ever listen to like Sirius or anything like that? Like Sirius radio? Like
I used to a few times. I've only ever listened to Sirius when I had it for free in my car. It's actually, it's not bad.
There's a commercial for this guy, the Southern guy. And he's like, I want to help you get out of your timeshare. You ever sign up for a timeshare and then you were sold a bill of goods that you were not informed of, that was not going to be afforded to you?
Yeah.
When you try to get out of the agreement, they tell you there's extra charges and also there's no way to get out of the contract. Well, I'm here to help. And then he just goes on about blah 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 blah. I'm going to help you get out of this timeshare, or you don't have to pay for it. They're like, so I guarantee I'll get you out of your timeshare, or not. Hey, guess what, Ronnie? I can guarantee that exact same fucking thing. So maybe when you go on tour with Ronnie Radke, you go, hey, Ronnie, I'm going to go on tour with you, or not.
Well, this kind of correlates to where it's like, this is where
guarantee.
Well, this is where no, dude, that's a really interesting perspective to like kind of view it through, because it kind of reminds me of this is why you need to like maneuver things in a real way and, kind of put your foot down in certain scenarios when it's important. It kind of goes back to the fucking like the merch split. The merch split conversation we have, where if people aren't familiar with it, it's where essentially like the venue takes a cut of your merch sales by the sheer fact of just like letting you sell merch there. Now, some venues actually they'll give you a guy to sell your merch, and it makes sense to have a fee, but apparently some venues just are like, they're trying to nickel and dime you. And that a lot of things with that, I've heard perspectives on that where it's kind of like, you got to have a good manager who goes, hey, we don't do this. If you guys aren't, they having something in your contract where it's like, if you're not going to help us, we don't owe you nothing. So to correlate it back to this, it's almost like worth your while of having a smart manager where it's like you have a clause. It's like the Ronnie Radke clause like, we'll go on tour with Ronnie Radke, but there is a clause in our contract that if he does any fuck shit, we can bow out with no penalty to us.
Right.
But yeah, I do at the end of that. That's a fun way to look at it. Funny way to look at it. But at the same time, I was like, nah, this kind of feels like Spirit Box being a little bit phonies. It's like Ronnie Radke's been Ronnie Radke the whole fucking time, and it's like,
it could be either one, because that's the thing. It's like, it's the same idea. Like, so think about it from like even like the Coheed and Dance Gavin Dance thing. Like the Coheed and Cambria said, yeah, why don't you guys come on and tour with us, knowing that there was past allegations or whatever there was with what's his face? We can't. I almost call him Gavin. With Gavin of Dance Gavin Dance.
Wait, did Dance or Gavin do that? I can't remember
which one it was. Which one was it? But maybe in that scenario, they're like, well, you just lost your fucking bass player, so I guess we feel bad for you. But like, as a situation, maybe there's these clauses now because every entertainer, I guess, I don't even know how to, every personality, every person in the world now, if somebody wants, they can kind of just fuck with your shit, whether it was a misperception of what things happened, maybe it was a real actual crime and that's the thing, is like, there's always possibilities, but there's very rarely ever like charges brought
or like strong evidence.
Yeah, in a lot of cases. So it's kind of a thing where I bet in a lot of contracts or a lot of agreements, because they started promoting this, they promoted it, and I'm sure tickets were sold because they were on those shows, and you know what I'm saying? Like, there's an actual contractual, just like the merch split, there's business to be done here.
Yeah.
It's not like, so if this was just truly them being phonies and trying to get a little bit of like clout for saying like, hey, we did the right thing, they fucked up.
I think it's them trying to just avoid a headache, but
I don't know. I think that's truly what it was. So I'm sure that's what it is. But them announcing it and going like, hey guys, blah blah blah, I don't think it's just them letting their fans know they're not going to be on those shows, because they can do that. But I think it's more of like, because of recent allegations, this is why we're doing it.
Yeah. But I do get, I don't know, I hate like the performative nature of all musicians too. Just period. Period. You're like,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like,
you're like, oh, you're so clever.
You don't get to do that because you agreed to do the show. Like, that's the thing. You don't get to do that, but you can say, hey guys, sorry, but unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we will not be able to continue with our tour. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you can do that, and everybody will go, oh, that's probably because of all that bullshit that's happening. But because
it's like you are. Yeah, it's like it's clearly, yeah, no, the
Period.
period, like when people do that stuff, like she did the period, that stuff
That's for
annoys me
women because we're
because it's
doing it
like,
for women. You're welcome, women, and also thank you because I am a woman and because I couldn't let these atrocity. It's like, all right.
well, I'm more looking at it like, it's almost like, well, no, we all know you're doing this for PR. Like, we can
Yeah.
all tell you're doing this for PR reasons
Period.
because you were
Period.
originally going to do it, and now the problem was potentially going to arose, and now you're bowing out for PR reasons. And when you retweet it and just put a very performative period,
Yeah.
that signals like, and I'm completely in the right. And it's like, nah, you're doing a little sneaky shit. Not sneaky shit. What am I trying to say? Or maybe not like, oh, I'm completely in the right, but it's just like, no, you don't get to leave this without a little knock on your credibility. That
Yeah, you gotta
the
be.
period, the period in the tweet symbolizes I'm I still have my all my credibility. And it's like, no, you don't. You
No,
didn't lose all of it. They'll be
no.
fine. Spirit Box will be completely fine.
You
But
lost more because of this. Like
but
you lost
here's the
more because of
reality.
history. Yeah.
Here's the reality. You really should have just ran away with your tail between your legs, but you kind of ran away with your head up talking shit. And now, because of that, you lose like 2% credibility. It's not all of it, but it's a little smidge. I'm sorry, but you did.
Yeah, and 6 shows, like six, that probably would have been great turnouts, but like really, like it's overall, it's not like you're giving up a big, it's very performative. It's very much for the show of it, but it's also kind of like a I don't even know if I'm using these terms right, but is it a dog whistle? Is that right? Did I use that right? Where it's like a dog whistle thing where they're just like kind of like saying this thing of like, come pat me on the back. Come, or is that not right? I don't know if I'm using that right.
I don't know if it's a dog whistle, but I hear what you're saying. It's sort of like
It's not
I'm being a good boy.
it's
You know, people
pander.
do that all the time. They do. It's not dog. It's like virtue signaling almost.
That's the one. I knew it was one of those fucking words like that, but it was like one of those things where you're
Well,
just
dog whistling's that thing where they're basically like, when you say this, you really mean that,
it's like
which is always hilarious because the people bitching about dog whistling, it goes, "Oh, you noticed it? Well, you
yeah.
know how you know how you notice dog whistles because you can fucking hear it. So maybe you're hearing it because you're a bad guy."
You're a fucking dog. But I think it's the same idea of this thing of like, I'm doing this because I don't support the abuse of women.
Yeah.
Okay, but this isn't the first accusation. So did you do it before? But you're like, you don't support the abuse of 3 women. 2 is cool, but 3's too many. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I literally, okay, you're bringing up your morals. Please elaborate a little bit before that period. Tell me why it was okay before, but it's not okay now. If you're
and that
going
goes
to do
back and
so,
that goes back to my original point of like, they're trying to act like they're gonna walk out of this with all their credibility intact, and it's just like, nah, you guys kind of fucking goofed up a little bit, and you don't get to hold your head up completely high.
then
You're being a little bit of a fucking
you're also being a goof because you're doing one of those things of like, if you're saying what he did that knowingly and it was wrong, then like not just saying, oh, it was a mistake or something like that, whatever, then it's the same
yeah.
formula. You
Yeah.
knew going into that was wrong, but you did it anyway. You got caught up in some shit and you're like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna white knight our way out of here. See you later.
Yeah.
They got on their horse and they're like kind of rode away.
Exactly.
They're flipping a bird, going like, "You're the worst human ever, right, guys?"
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
like a fucking self-righteous Paul Revere, you dickhead. In hindsight, I was wrong. In hindsight, I was wrong.
Basically.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
that's what
That's
I
a
want.
good place to that's a good place to wrap it up. I like that. Hindsight Paul Revere. I'm the Paul Revere of hindsight.
Yeah,
Turns out I was wrong. Turns out
whoopsie,
I was wrong.
whoopsie daisy, whoopsie daisy.
Oh
My
man. All right.
bad.
we gotta get out of here. This has been a great episode. Check out all Pat shit, Baby Mermaid,
I'm
all
on
that
Twitter
shit.
now.
What?
I'm on Twitter now.
Oh yeah,
Gat Porge.
at Gap Porge. Go check him the heck out. All right, guys, gals, everyone in between. I love you. I love you so much. Always remember, be about it, bitches. Bye bye.